I thought I'd share a little video just to show what goes into our route planning. I'll try and make this short, but it won't be short because there's a lot of stuff that goes into route planning. You know, I think about it weeks in advance. Our next passage down to the Tuamotus will be from, I'll show you on the iPad here, okay, you've got Nukuhiva, Power. You can see our green tracks where we've come in and when we've sailed around the islands, and then you can see now we went to Hivaroa, we did some provisioning, and now we're around here and Beta Hanamanoa, and we're going to, you can see that's our anchor alarm on there. We're going to depart here and we're going to head 500 miles to the southwest down to the Tuamotus. We go around Taro, which is a small atoll which hasn't got a pass. I don't believe there's a pass in there, so yeah, you can't really get into that one. But we're going to go to Raraka. Now, it's not a very popular atoll, and that's sort of part of the reason why we like it. And then we're going to come down here and anchor at the back of this motu here in the shelter. And I'll just explain why we like this atoll. Okay, so I'll just jump over to Google Maps just to show you why. So the good thing about it is that a lot of these atolls have a lot of coral bommies in them, which mean that when you anchor, it'll just take a little while to get the Google image up. Okay, you can see these dark spots on the bottom. They're coral bommies. They're small little coral heads that grow up from the sand. Now, when you anchor amongst these, your chain easily gets wrapped around them. So I like to anchor in places where there are none. A way you can avoid that is you can attach buoys to your anchor chain and float your chain above them. But I prefer to have the chain out and not to have to do that and to be able to swing. Now, the nice thing about Raraka is that you can see there's no coral bommies in these areas. Now, we're shoal draft. The boat draws, you know, we can draw a minimum of just over 1/2 metre if we want to bring up the rudder, but we won't need to. We'll be able to anchor amongst here and have plenty of swinging room and not have to worry about the coral heads on the bottom. Not only that, but we can get in really close to the back of this motu for a lot of protection, and there's no one down here. So that's why we've picked this atoll, and then from there, and it's really a nice easy straight line down. Obviously you just got to go around the other small atoll just to the north. But then we can come over to Whakarava if we want, which is pretty famous. The diving through the South Pass here is pretty spectacular. But again, if you have a look at the anchorage, it's not that great in Whakarava. You can see all of these yachts here in the image are anchored, and they're either floating their chain or they're risking having their chain wrapped around bommies. So we may come here, we may not. It'll just depend how we feel. But Tau Atoll is one that we'll definitely go to. They've got about 10 moorings in here. And Gaston and Valerie are the owners of this property here, and we visited them the last time I sailed through on Little Spirit in 2011. So I'd really like to come in and visit them again and say hi. A lovely couple, and we can pick up a mooring in here. They've got really well serviced moorings, or we can drop a pick up here in the shallower water. And then from there down to Tahiti. There's a really easy hop of about 250 miles, super simple. Now that we've picked the atoll, what we do is we watch the weather carefully and we look for a really good weather window, and that means stable breeze, not passing through a major front on the way down. You get a bit of a transition zone that moves north and south here. And so yeah, picking some stable breeze all the way down. And if we go now to this is our weather app that we use. We use Weather 4D. It's I really like it. The subscription's about $50 a year. Now these are the different models that I've picked. GFS Icon, because Icon's proving to be fairly reliable. It's only a short-based forecast of only about 4 days, but on the way over from Panama across the Pacific, I used it for the first time and I found it to be fairly accurate, and it's really detailed. This is a GFS, which is a global model, which is, you know, still pretty accurate. But what I like about Weather 4D is you can see I've exported our route here, and I exported it from iSailor. I do all of our routing in iSailor. So if I go down here to our routes, I go up here to Tahuata, Tararaka, you see 503 nautical miles. Anyway, I just export that. I click on info and then I go export. I go up and select GPX file at the top here. And then I go continue. And then I go down the bottom here on the right. Whoop, not send by email. I go send to. And then I pick the application that I want to send it to and click on Weather 4D. So I've already exported it to Weather 4D. You can see that it's in there. Now, if I click up here on the top left, the star up the top left here, it brings up a menu for routing. Now, if you click on simulation and routing, you can put in a lot of details about the boat. You can turn the simulation off, or you can get it to follow the route, or you can put in a speed as well, which is what I like. This is the main reason I like it, is that I can put in our sailing speed. It says motoring speed, but I can put in what I think our sailing speed will be. So I think it's going to be around about probably, we're going to have breeze on the beam, which is the best angle for this boat, and we should easily be able to average 8 knots. So then I go down to button, click on it, and it asks me for a departure. When do I want to start? So I click on that. I go, okay, we're going to start tomorrow morning, Wednesday, tomorrow morning at 4 AM. And we're going to do an average of, I'd say we'll probably do 8.2 knots. So then you click on the bottom right, you can see the time there. On the bottom left, you've got the globe. If you click on the globe, it allows you to zoom in and out and to virtually move the globe around. It's very intuitive, this app. I find it really easy to use as well. And then I click on the time. And you can see up here, it's got the local time right now, midday, Tuesday, the 21st. As I rotate the globe, because remember that's just a big globe, so as I rotate the globe, you'll see the time change up on the top left. Okay, and then once we get to 4 AM, you'll see the boat start to move. Now up the top there's a crosshair. I select the crosshair. And you can then, that crosshair, you can make it a free target. You can put it in the center of the screen, your GPS location, or on the boat that's on the route, which is the Tahuata Tararaka. So we've got that selected. So that'll give us the weather conditions at those crosshairs at that very moment, which is awesome, because I can see at any moment on that route where the boat is, what the expected conditions should be. Okay, it gives us our speed over the ground, our speed through the water, course over the ground, heading, apparent wind speed, apparent wind angle, true wind speed, and true wind angle. You go down to the second line, and then this is virtually what the wind should be that we're experiencing. So 13 knots at 110 degrees, gusts to 15, say 14 to 15 knots. Pressure, temperature, cloud cover, and precipitation, and that's at 9 AM in the morning. Okay, so as I rotate the earth around and change the time, you can see the time changing up there. You can see the boat moving along the route, and you can see the conditions changing in those little menu boxes at the top there, or little information boxes. Okay, so as the boat goes south, you can see really we're nothing above 10 to 15 knots the whole way. A bit lighter here on Thursday afternoon, but the apparent wind angle also comes around a little bit. So if it's about 60 to, even if it's a bit deeper at 60 to 70 degrees, I know that's an ideal angle for this boat. This boat loves it. So even though we're only getting 7 to 8 knots, we should still be averaging 7 knots through there. And that's only a very short period of time. And then the wind will pick up. And then you can see we're going to come into this transitional area here where we start to get a little bit more breeze down the bottom. And then boom, you can see some cloud forming. So we go through the transition and then into some stronger wind. And again, we're only going to be getting 15 to 20 knots. As we come in through the pass, you want the sun behind you so that you can see the shallow water. If the sun's in front of you, you can't see through the water because of the reflection. Okay, so you want to arrive at the pass. We will probably aim to arrive a bit earlier. We may leave at 3 in the morning. And then we'll come through the pass and then down and anchor in the bottom corner of the island. Now, the tides here, you really, you want to know what the tides are doing, because they determine how quickly the water comes in and out of the pass. Now, the quicker the water comes in and out, you can get standing waves here. The thing is, we're not going to be entering the pass in heavy conditions. Okay, the wind's going to be under 20 knots. And then the other thing is, if the conditions are not ideal for us to go through that pass, we will stand off. We're in the lee of the island here, so we're in calm conditions, and we will just motor back and forwards until the following morning, or until the conditions are suitable for us to enter that pass. So I think this is something that's really important for everyone to keep in mind. You don't have to enter passes if you don't feel comfortable entering them. Now, there is so many variables that we don't know. Okay, we don't know when we're going to arrive. We can aim to arrive there at a certain time. We can arrange to arrive there when the sun's right and when the tide's right. But if they don't align, it doesn't mean you have to still come in. You just wait off the pass, wait for the right weather, and then you come in. And if you find that you don't get the right weather, you go somewhere else where there's a bigger pass, like Whakarava. It's a huge pass, very safe to enter. Okay. Now also, when you enter the pass, this is quite a small pass. The water in the middle of the pass is where the flow is strongest. So I always recommend coming in the side of the flow. Okay, not in the middle where the water is strongest. Everyone's got their own idea of how to do things. And this is from my experience based working on boats around reefs and where there's been a lot of tidal flow. You never go through the strongest part of the tide, always up the side. Always have your dinghy at the ready to launch in case you have any engine problems. Okay, you want to have your dinghy ready to launch quickly so that you can push your boat away from the reef if you have an issue and you drift towards the reef. Not only that, you want to have your anchor ready to drop. Okay, you need to be ready for something to go wrong. Okay, as they say, plan for the worst, hope for the best. So, sails ready. The other thing is, we'll be beating into it. The wind will be, definitely the breeze will be probably on the nose as we come through this pass. So, dinghy ready to launch, anchor ready to deploy, and just be ready for something to go wrong. Make sure you start your engine well off the pass so that the engine's been running, that it's warm, you know that you're sucking water, you've got cooling water. Just common sense stuff. I see a lot of people get into trouble through not using common sense. Okay, then we come through the pass. Now, when we get into here, there's no charts. What we do is we go over to the laptop here. Now, you can see this is an application which is called OpenCPN, and it's a fantastic navigation app. It's open source, it's free to download on the internet. And the cool thing about it is it's made by yachties for yachties. So being open source means that you can come up with an idea, and if you're a coder, you can implement that idea in the application, and it's absolutely fantastic. I'll try and bring the laptop a little bit closer. I'm sorry, I hope people can see these. I've also exported our route to here. So I come over here, I go to our route and mark manager, go to path anchorage, I go activate, click on OK, and then there's the route that's done, showing it going down the middle of the pass. Okay, so you can see there's no chart of this area and it looks a bit crazy, but what there is of the area is there's fantastic, now move back over to the iPad, there is brilliant satellite images. Now most people these days are using satellite images because you can see, look at all the bommies. You can see the bommies clearly. Okay, this takes a little bit. Okay, now have a look at that. Look at how crystal clear that bommy is. You know, and as I zoom, that's just crazy. You know, it really is. It's way better than any chart will be. because it's an actual image of the atoll. So what I've done is I've downloaded the images over here on OpenCPN. That's what's so amazing about OpenCPN. You can see the image here. Okay, these are all different images. Okay, that's the ArcGIS. You can see the writing here. Okay, this is the Bing satellite image that's displaying. This is the Google satellite image, and then this is Navionics, and then that's the chart. So you can go through and you can view the different images. So I'll just show you, I'll give you an idea of how they differ. This is the pass. So I'll zoom in again. And you can see it's a good image, but it's not that great. Okay, so if we go over to this other image, yeah, that's the Navionics, not that great. That's the CMAP, not that great. Okay, that there is the Google image. That's the Bing image, and then that's the ArcGIS image. Okay, so it looks like to me the Bing image is the best, so we'll use that for now. And then what we do is I just drew a straight line from one end where we come through the pass down to the other end to where we'd like to anchor. And you can see it skips all of the bommies. There's a bommie here, a few here, and then that brings us down here. Another point I'd like to make is that we will be entering this with the sun high and behind us. Okay, if it's raining and cloudy, we will not enter this atoll. We will stand off and wait for the right conditions, even if we have to stand off for 12 hours. It's way better than risking your boat and your life. So yeah, you can see this image. It's pretty cool. There's a few bommies, but we bypass them. There's a few shallow spots, but I can guarantee you they're about 3 meters underwater. That easily is a few meters underwater. And anyway, as we approach these, I'll make sure that cloudy is on the bow and that we have some eyes high and that we can see them. And we will keep to the port side of this route. Another small shallow spot there. But again, that's easily a couple of meters underwater. And you can see, so it's a pretty clear atoll. There's not a lot of, this is all cloud, by the way. There's not a lot of bommies in here to worry about, which is fantastic. So, that makes me really happy because, I'm quite comfortable coming in here. We're not having to dodge a lot of stuff. And then when we get down the end, you can see we'll come and anchor in one of these beautiful sandy areas down the end here. Now that doesn't look that great, that image, so let's switch to the arc. No, that doesn't look that great either. And let's just swap between all the images till we find the best one. Yeah, I'd say the Bing seems to be the best. Anyway, so there you go. And that's pretty much how we do it. And a couple of other things that we've kept in mind is we're sailing through 2 nights. It'll take us 2 nights and probably 3 days to get down here. So we are leaving probably about 4 a.m. tomorrow morning, 3 or 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. And at the moment we've got a full moon, so that makes it fantastic for sailing down here because we've got bright nights, which is always much nicer to sail at night. Anyway, that's a really sort of quick overview of how we do it. And that's how we do the weather. So I'll zoom back out on the weather. I'll show you the icon forecast quickly as well, so you can see how much more detail there is in that. That's the GFS. Unfortunately, the GFS is like a 16-day forecast. The Icon is only like a 4-day. So for long-range forecasting, you use GFS. The European model as well is not too bad, but it only goes out to 10 days. That's the ECM WF, and then the Icon here. So you can see if we go down and zoom in for what the weather will be like for our arrival. Scoot through. Okay, it looks pretty good for our arrival. That'll be Friday afternoon. If we go to the Icon, you can see much more detail. So we will be sailing through quite a bit of, I'd say, some squally conditions. I don't think there'd be too much in it though. We shouldn't get more than 30s. And then that's through that transition into the stronger breeze. You can see this route just takes us straight over the top of that other atoll, but that's only because this is the route on Weather 4D. It's not the actual route we'll be navigating to. And then as we arrive, it should clear. So Friday afternoon should be clear and should be perfect for our arrival. And if not, we'll stand off and wait till Saturday. And Saturday morning, you can see clear, clear. 50% cloud cover, yeah, perfect. And then we'll wait till about midday when the sun's high, and then we'll enter. So yeah, perfect. Alright guys, hope that really helps with how we do our weather routing and forecasting. I'm sure this is probably a lot longer than I wanted to go for, 25 minutes. Sorry about that, but there is a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of thought and a lot of prior planning. You know, I had to download all the Google images, made sure that I had, I had every Google image that was possible to get. I had to do the routes, and then obviously I've been watching the weather for the last few days, and picking a good weather window. All right, all the best everyone, and yeah, really hope this helps people in the future. And yeah, all the best from Spirit. Cheers.